Thanks for tuning into the Hidden Tracks podcast. You can find us wherever you find podcasts or listen to music. When you have an opportunity, please give us a 5-star review, write a little note, tell us how we're doing. We really appreciate it. It helps us keep this thing going. If you want to reach out to us, you can find us at Facebook at Hidden Tracks. Instagram is at HiddenTracks99, and if you'd like to send in submissions or talk to us or give us any feedback about what we're doing, our email is myhiddentracks99@gmail.com. Thank you so much again for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy the show.
Sits all alone with his head down on the throne, and he's crying. The court had stood him up until they've had enough of his crying. His simple trick of rhetoric, like blood from a finger with a little prick. The hanging scrolls is on his stick, and he's crying. So call up your money maker. Call up your money maker. Maybe he'll find a taker. Can fuel the fire. Pretty soon they'll turn to ash from his crying. You're only fooling yourself if you think it's gonna last from his crying.
Everybody, I have an amazing, I guess, as described by many people, a prodigy when it comes to the world of music, and a band that you may have heard of but may have forgotten about. And that's why they're here on Hidden Tracks. And it is the band The Guess Who. And I'm lucky enough to have the last remaining original member of the band and drummer, Garry Peterson. Welcome to the show, Garry. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me here. It's a great honor.
So I'm going to get this out of the way real quick because it's funny now, especially where the music industry is, and at your let's be honest, your advanced age, but the advanced age of other people. The Rolling Stones recently put out a new song in their 80s. You are 78 and you're still doing it. And my number one question will be, what keeps you going?
The music, creating music, number one. But a very essential part of that therapy for my soul is being able to play that music for the people of the audience. That is to play music old, whether it's old or new, and to see the reaction and what it does to and for people is what keeps me coming back over and over and over again. Kind of like let the healing begin.
Yeah. And music does have that healing effect. And
Well, all kinds of art does that as well. Poetry and paintings, literature, everything. All the arts have that feeling for the soul. And I'm fortunate to have spent my life work doing something I love and for the benefit of not only myself, but for other people, which is really, I can't stress that enough.
And prior to us sitting here and recording and doing this episode, I commented about how much I truly enjoyed your most recent album. And it was for me, it was something that was kind of unexpected when it comes to, hey, there's a new Guess Who album out. And then listening to it and finding the pop sensibilities in it to kind of create and jump into today's world of music. Is there a conscious effort to try to keep up with the times, or are you just creating the music that makes you happy at this moment?
I've said this before. The current members of the band, all the members that have passed through the band, from Randy Bachman and Burton Cummings all the way to Kurt Winter, Greg Gillespie, Dominic Troy, we all grew up listening to the same music, including the members now in this band, so that we're influenced by that music and the music we grew up loving. And so you'll hear what you're hearing in our albums, the one before this, which was called The Future Is What It Used to Be. It's inspired by all the people that we looked up to. The Stones, the Beatles, the Eagles, Queen, all the way up through the history of rock and roll and back as far as Elvis. That's all reflected in this. And so maybe if you're listening to the album and you're digging it or really liking it, you're liking something you're kind of familiar with. It's kind of like what the British bands did when they took American music. They were listening to all the black artists, Muddy Waters and all Little Richard and Buddy Holly, from that side, the Beach Boys. They took that music and they fed it back to us, and we listened to it and went, "Wow, this is great." But we really were listening to the music that was born in America, fed back to us with a slightly different twist.
Yeah.
So, if I'm describing it that way, that's what I'm saying. We're not trying to be new. We're just trying to be in love with the music that we're creating. And the band truly is, because that's why the name of the album is Plein d'amour, which means full of love. I mean, the Beatles said it many years ago, and we listened to it and we said, yeah, this is cool. All you need is love. But sometimes we forget it. We need to be reminded.
We do need to be reminded on a daily basis.
Yeah, in this world where we're not even civil to each other, or don't have time to be. I think humanly we have that all in us to be that. But we just need a kind of a gentle reminder every once in a while. And that's what our music is about. That's what our show is about. It may sound corny, but it really is reflected in the grooves on that record.
I think you're misstating corny for honesty.
Well, uh, again, I'm the worst judge of ourselves. We do what we do, and you will either like it or you won't like it. And as I said, the audience is the great telltale. They're the ones that really tell you, yeah, you're on the right path or you're not. We don't really understand this or don't get it.
Well, I think that's one of the hardest parts too, right? Is nowadays you kind of, even though it's easier to get to the music and find the music, it's also, there's not that album sale. There's not that, you don't know if it's getting to someone and if they're really enjoying it, how much they're enjoying it. There's all these stupid metrics, especially, for this show as well. Like we have to follow these stupid metrics to see what we're doing and how, and I'm like, I just don't fucking care. I just want to talk.
Well, it's totally changed. Like I come from the record generation where you signed with a record company, they put the record out, they promoted it by paying disc jockeys to play it, and it came on the radio, and then it was a hit, and then you could tour. That's all gone in a great sense. We're relearning how do you get music in front of people, and it's a whole new ball game for us, which is why we adopted taking the 8 cuts on the album and releasing one song every 8 weeks with a video, like a video single.
Yeah.
And people's attention span, and it's not their fault, it's the fault of the media we have today, is very short. There's so much out there. You with a click of a finger, you can change to something else if you're not interested in what you just viewed, right, or listened to.
Yeah.
So we're being conditioned to be quick, and you have to get something to catch people's eyes, or maybe people just need to sit back and really look at something and listen to it and then decide, but just not split decisions at a split of a moment.
Well, I think that's one of the biggest things that we deal with in today's
Mhm.
world of music is that you can listen to 10 seconds of a song and you judge immediately, where back in the day, when I grew up and when you were putting out records, was if you're spending your hard-earned money on this album, this is what you have moving forward for a while until your next payday, or until you get your
Mhm.
your tips on your paper route to go spend it. So you're going to be conditioned to sit down, take your time and listen to it. And I think it's just we're too fast to dismiss something.
Dismiss something, yes, and I agree. I think in the old days when I listened to the new Beatle record that came out, or album, I'd listen to it, and the guys would say, "Oh, isn't that great?" And I'd say, "Well, don't know yet. I have to listen a little bit more." And then I'd end up going, "Oh my God, this is out of this world." I think that's why we used to create records and go out on tour to sell the records. play live. Now you create a record, and it's totally backwards. You go
Well,
on tour. You go on tour to help sell the record,
yeah,
and I believe,
you
and I
have to.
yeah, and I believe that's why. In other words, if you buy a concert ticket, you go to the concert, you can't turn it off
Yeah.
and go to the next concert. You're forced to sit there and listen. And talking to you just now, I just realized this, and that's why why are we playing half the album live on stage? Well, because we have the people there in front of us. They're not going to switch.
Yeah.
So it's a good opportunity to put that material amongst all these great songs that we have from the different eras of the band that are like 50, 60 years old. You know, that takes a lot of courage to play new material like that. But really, it's the ideal place to get what you're doing today across to the people. It's a captive audience.
It definitely isn't. I was at a concert last night, and a band says, "Hey, here's our new song,"
Oh,
and
I'm going to get my drink now. I see you. I got to go to the bathroom.
yeah, and that's how, and that is usually what happen. What you see when someone's like, "We're going to play a new song," and for me, sometimes I'll sit there and I try to, when I unfortunately for me, I'm a northern East Coaster who
Mhm.
is a very opinionated asshole at times, and I'll just be like, all right,
Well, you have to be that to live it up there.
yeah,
I mean,
I did,
you gotta, if you're going to sit there and say after you, Alphonse, there may not be any after. You
yeah,
know, so in defense of you, you have to take on the mantle of where you live in order to survive, or
that
else you move somewhere else.
that is true.
Yeah.
That is very true. But those new songs come on, and for instance, last night they're like, "Hey, here's our new song," and I stay there for 2 minutes, and I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Hmm.
Unfortunately, I may not be in moving forward, but the best thing about music is I still have everything that came previously and is still at my fingertips.
Yeah.
Uh, and for me, I'm very old school in the fact that I am surrounded by albums here in the studio. I'm
Hmm.
surrounded by tapes and CDs, and that's I enjoy the journey that a record takes me on. I enjoy a journey of a full album. The
Yeah.
EP game, the singles game, which is really tough to navigate in today's world. I enjoy when it's finally all said and done, and I get a full album, such as Plan de More, and I can sit there and go through and feel something through every song. And when it's over, you have that awesome choice of I want some more, or I'm going to
Yeah.
take a break.
Yeah. It's really when we started doing the new material on stage. Interestingly enough, the first song we did on stage was the most complicated song from the album and the hardest to reproduce live, and that was The King. And that King is the very first song we play
Wow.
after
The
our
very first
opening.
song on the album,
Yes.
and it's a great introduction to
Well,
what the album's going.
people are sitting, people are just getting settled in their seats and they're moving about, and we have walk kind of play on music. We do a theme from Peter Gunn when we come on and we play it, and it goes right in from that to The King, and it's like you hit these people with the glove of awareness.
Yeah.
You know, it's like when Derek suggested we do that, I said, "Are you kidding? Are you sure?" Because they want to hear right off the bat. They want to hear American Women. You know that.
Yeah.
I mean that they can't wait to get to that. I mean, and really, it's silly. I mean, why would you want to do that? then the concert's over, right? I mean,
Yeah.
everybody could go home, right? So, anyways, I thought this takes a lot of courage, and it's been quite good because people are sitting there and they're amazed. You see it, you feel it, and so it's probably was a wise choice to
No,
do.
I definitely think it is, and I'll be perfectly honest. For me, with the King is when the new album came out, and I was listening to it over and over again. I started randomly, and this is how I do things to get to see how I can judge people. I'll just all of a sudden put on a song from somebody, and I'll just like have it play in the background and wait for people's reactions. And as soon as I put that on, people like stop and are like, "Wait, what is this?" I'm like, "Why?" They're like it. I'm like, "Do you not like it?" They're like, "No, I love it, but it reminds me of something." I'm like, "This is
Of
the Guess
course,
Who." Yeah, and I was like, "Yeah, the Guess Who." The band, like These Eyes, American Woman, that, and they're like, "Are you kidding me?" I'm like, "No." They're like, "This is fucking great." I'm like, "Yeah, everyone's allowed to continue to make music. That's what's the best part
right?
about this world."
Yeah, and again, that's you come and see the band, and that's live is a whole different ball game. It's quite evident that we love what we're doing. I mean, being able to create now is a whole new ball game for us. To have an audience somewhere, at least somewhere, some place to listen to this and to give us, again, as I said, it's the greatest measuring stick of all because we get the feedback, especially live. Um, what are they hearing of this that we're doing? I mean, what is it doing to them? What is it making them feel like? And that's really tells you whether you're on the right track or not.
Yeah, and when it comes to, you start your show with the King and, talking about that, that's my song that I play for people when I
Hmm.
say, "Hey, you got to listen to something." Is that the song, or is there another song that you would play for somebody that you would say best describes, the sound of where you are now and
People
possibly
around
moving
me,
forward?
is very, very popular with. It's more. It might be closer to the old Guess Who kind of feel, more a pop oriented uh, song. I mean, Across the Line and Spaces on the album are two phenomenal ballads. I
Yeah.
mean, Across the Line was the song that Derek submitted to us when we were looking for a new singer, and when I heard that, and I realized I heard the demo, and he wrote it, he sang it, he played on it, everything, and produced it, and I went, "Are you kidding me? This guy did all of that. He's in."
Yeah. You now
However,
belong to me.
however, however, Derek and I guess I in my background knew we didn't have the band to be able to play that song, let alone the King. At that time, we needed to go through some changes. We had Rudy Sarzo on bass. We had uh, Will Ivankovich, who Stick stole from our band, and he's in that band now. And we were kind of going in that direction of being able to to do some more, more intricate material. And this album is kind of like the result of that. Besides the
Well,
fact that when you buy the vinyl, it's just a gorgeous package. I don't know if you've seen it or not.
I have not seen it. I have
You
not
need
received it yet.
the purple splatter vinyl is just it's. I just showed it on a podcast in Mexico. I was just on with someone there, and they went, "Are you kidding me?" Because it's an album cover done by Ionis Dangerous,
Mhm.
who did a lot of albums for artists, including Yes, and that style of album. So the vinyl package is it's as spectacular as any I've ever been associated with in this band.
That's one of the greatest things about the revival of vinyl coming back,
Mm-hmm.
right? Is the artwork. Is having a piece of artwork to go with the artistry of the music. And
Well, it
it's
also has information in general about, who did this, who wrote that. These little packages we've been getting have nothing.
Yeah.
You can't put them on little things, and then I don't know what downloads what they do. I
nothing.
don't I don't see much. However, I once uh, uh, downloaded the Little Richard Lucille album, and it had everything on it. And I went, "Oh my God, they're finally getting smart. They're going to do this." Uh What a mistake that is.
Yeah.
That's what people miss. They miss, what does the band look like? What kind of instruments are they playing? What somewhere that shows on albums, how are they dressing? That's all part of the package now when you see a vinyl
Yeah,
or in the
it's
past.
there.
Yeah. So it's good to see that. I don't know if it'll continue because we're in the digital download age again. Maybe people will finally see that listening to deciding to buy a single cut of an album after listening to it for 10 seconds is not the way to go.
No, and especially when it comes to that, I had a conversation with a friend at the concert last night, and I said, I do all this research, especially for shows such as this, and I said, what's telling is that one of the reasons why on this show I constantly push towards people to, if you're enjoying the band, to buy a T-shirt or buy an album or do anything like that, because it takes between 4,800 to 5,000 streams of one song to equal a concert T-shirt for someone to get paid. So if you can buy a T-shirt, it's basically them receiving 5,000 streams of a song on Spotify, one song. And to think
Yeah.
about how much music is out there and how many people will have that opportunity to get that stream that many times, like that's where we are. And it's so hard. And I'm glad that the vinyl came back in the resurgence, because people could start to make a little bit of money to keep things going because people were buying it and they're interested in it. And I
Yeah.
don't want it to go away. And I'm just, what's the next medium? Like I said, is the next step going to be, because tapes kind of had this little run again where cassettes were coming back, and is it going to go back to CDs? Everything that's old is new again at some point. So I'm
Yeah.
hoping there's ways to get around that and better things to do for some
Yeah.
people.
I don't think, however, that most of them, and I like it because royalty wise, every time they invent a new way, other than digital, which you don't really get a lot from,
Yeah.
but every uh, medium they created to deliver music, we get paid royalties all over again because people will go out. Oh well, I have to have it in 8-track. I have to have it in cassette. I have to have it in
Yeah.
CD. So I get paid, which is great. That's a good thing. However, the digital world, they didn't control well enough for the artists, and most artists are getting screwed on that end of the deal. But so,
I
however,
don't know. I don't know if there was a time where artists weren't really getting
yeah,
screwed by
but
the
this
music
is
industry.
this is really bad. I mean, when you see how many streams you need to make a buck, it's ridiculous. It's incredible. But anyways, the point I was getting to is that maybe the album is going to prove to be the best delivery system in the sense that if the others were so good, why are we still searching? You,
Yeah,
you know
I
what I'm
agree.
saying? Let's
Yeah,
go
no,
back.
absolutely.
Let's throw everything else and let them be collectibles for those that like to collect. Let's go back to albums. What was wrong with that?
Yeah.
You know,
I,
it's
for
giving
as
people
my wife
voice.
will say, it's the space. Because I have.
Yeah, yeah, but we spent. Take a look at your closet, okay?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, there's the space, but the pleasure. How do you measure that against the pleasure
Yeah, you
that
can't.
you can't? So, and I'm realizing, as I'm talking to people like you on an interview, I'm discovering this myself in my head while I'm talking to you. These thoughts are coming to me about what is the best way to deliver pop music. Of course, live, to me, I would say live is always the best, but it's a different experience.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
You brought up your influences earlier and how the band had their influences. And there's usually a pivotal moment as a child where music just kind of makes sense right away, and you figure out that that's what you want to be a part of because you heard something. Do you remember in your time as a child what you heard that made you say, "Wow, this may be something I want to do"?
I'm going to answer that with a question to you.
Mm-hmm.
Shane, do you remember the day you started to walk?
I do not.
Okay.
But I remember the moment that music changed for me as a small
Well, I
child, and
can't
that's
give
when I
you that.
dove in.
I see. This is the point. My father put drumsticks in my hands and started teaching me when I was 2 years old. I have no memory. In my life, music has been like walking. I've always had it as long as I've had memory. So
Wow.
there is no moment. It's always been a part of my life. Um, you could ask, is there a moment when you decided to go professional? Well, I was professional all my life. I joined the American Federation of Musicians when I was 9 years old. That was 1954. So I've been a member of the AF of M, one of the biggest unions in America, since I was 9 years old.
How many
So
people can say that?
not many, I don't think.
Yeah.
I could end up being the longest ever member of that organization. So
Wow.
so what I'm trying to get across is the fact that it was kind of predestined for me. My dad was a drummer and he started me playing drums. And when I first performed on stage, it was 1949. There was no rock and roll. It was jazz and big band. That's where I come from. So so I progressed all through my life while I was going to school. Um, I was doing shows and different things on the weekends, playing at different uh, places, learning. Um, it's all. I'm writing a book, and most of it will be laid out in the book once I get time to finish it, amongst new albums and old
Yeah.
albums and
New
touring
albums, old albums, touring.
and film
You're and
videos
writing
and
a book. Yeah.
yeah, I'm writing a book, and I'm actually close. I'm on the last chapter, but um, getting back to it kind of grew for me as part of my life while I was going to school, and then while I was playing hockey and playing Little League Baseball and balancing all of these things in my life um, until um, I discovered rock music. And that was really at the same time with Randy Bachman. We played Little League Baseball together. And he knew I was a star already, a child star in Winnipeg. And he said, would you like to, my friend and I, we've got a band and we're playing, rock. Would you do that? And I said, absolutely. Because I'd been playing with musicians that were like 20, 30 years older than me. And now this was music of my era. So that was my introduction to it. And the rest kind of is history. Because after we had our band, the Velvetones, we merged with the next best band in Winnipeg, which was Alan the Silvertones. And Randy and I joined them. And in that band was three-quarters of the Guess Who at that point. That would be 1962. So it was kind of a process that just went on and on and on.
That's, you know,
I mean,
to,
that's a simplified form of it, but
no,
I do.
listen, we're short form
Yeah,
media, right?
I
So,
go I go into greater detail in the book, um, just because. And I didn't want to write this book. People have been asking, please write a book. I don't want to write a book. I don't want to write about this. I've lived it. I just. And then one day I was sitting in my backyard in Florida, looking at the live oaks, which are like 100 years old, and thinking what they've seen. And I said, you know what? You need to set down on paper your experience in music from the time that you can remember to today.
yeah. Well, because I would think it would be a little selfish to keep it all to yourself, right?
Well, again, there's so many doors in my mind that have been closed. Not that they're gone, but it started to reopen, and some of it was painful. Some of it I at times, and that's why maybe I've delayed finishing it, because in my mind, if I finish it, is that the end? You know.
And listen, you said you were on the last chapter,
Yeah.
and I wanted to say I hope not, because
Well,
there's
yeah, the last chapter. I mean, two guys have come and gone from the band since I started writing the book. So nothing. The Guess Who doesn't change. It keeps changing, right?
yeah, it's
And
evolving.
I'm the common thread that really runs through all of it.
Well, I'm glad you're still there, still doing it.
Yeah, I'm blessed, very blessed to be able to do what I do, and given the opportunity to do it, I will do it as long as I possibly can.
Now, other than your own band, what band in your life has brought the most enjoyment or satisfaction from a musical realm for you?
Well, I mean, when I got to play with a lot of great jazz players in Winnipeg in my early years, around when I was 18 years old. There was a great jazz guitarist from Winnipeg. His name was Lenny Breau, Breau. He's now dead. That was a great thrill for me, because I have a great love of jazz. That's the first music I ever played. Um, I got to play a whole season with the Winnipeg Symphony Orchestra, which is another love I have, and that'll be expanded in the book. How I started playing classical music when I was 9 years old in the Manitoba Senior Orchestra, which was all the greatest um, classical musicians throughout the high schools in Winnipeg. Well, you notice in the high school, you're around 14, 15, 13. I was 9. So there's again an example of me playing above my uh,
Yeah, your
state.
age level. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I had all these great experiences. Like when I was 11 years old, a country guy by the name of Ferlin Husky came into town. He didn't have a drummer. He called the union, and the union said, well, there's this young kid who's 11 years old that knows all your stuff. He can play anything you ever recorded. So I got to play with Ferlin Husky. In 1950, I had the honor of going to Chicago, to the state, the Chicago Theater on State Street, and I did a show with Peggy Lee. And that was 1950. I would have been 5 years old.
Wow.
So there are kind of many highlights. Playing with BTO, when Randy reformed BTO in the mid 80s. We did the Van Halen 5150 tour as an opening act for Van Halen. So that was kind of a. I've had so many, and again, like I say, you have to read the book to see all the things. It's hard for me to choose one or one band, you know.
No, I understand that. Here's a question that I would love to see if you have an answer for.
Mhm.
Would be when you are a 9-year-old and some musician comes to Canada and they need a drummer. What, and I'm sure as a 9-year-old you don't remember or even know what the perception was from that artist to say, a 9-year-old. How long did it take for them to hear what you could do and just be like, all right, yeah,
Well,
no, that's it.
mostly I was not playing with guys that would that the Ferlin Husky thing was an odd thing. Mostly I was playing with local people in Winnipeg, and of course, if I first played at 4 years old is when I won the ACT Amateur Hour, and I got $100, which was big in 1949.
Yeah.
From then on, I was a known commodity, and my career grew by playing on shows. I played on shows with the Four Lads, the Ames Brothers, the Aces, the Andrews Sisters, Lionel Hampton came into town. I did a show as an act on the show, separate act. And then Harry James with Buddy Rich came into town. I played in front of that show. So it was mostly I was being a solo artist at that time, and then grew into playing locally with some of the greatest musicians that Winnipeg ever saw.
Yeah.
Um,
You
so
could go down as maybe the world's youngest and greatest hired gun at the time.
well, locally, I mean, this
Yeah.
was not, Winnipeg is a very small place, and my exploits into the music world, and one of my biggest. I had a lot of natural ability, and my biggest regret is that I wasn't able to go to one of the big music schools, either in San Francisco or New York, Juilliard or somewhere like that, to really. I mean, everything I did was by the seat of my pants, you know, listening to records and trying to figure out what their drummers playing, and incorrectly a lot of times. But um, I regret I didn't have the chance to really study more my craft and my instrument. Um, Everything I did was only from what was in me in the first place. And sometimes it's good, but I would like to have been better at it than I was. Obviously, I'm not
I
regret.
I
I'm
think
not.
you did just fine.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but I always think I could be. I still practice. After we finish here, I'll be going to practice, and that's because at my age, you can't let it go because the muscles atrophy so badly that playing an hour, 2 hour show is 3 nights in a row, which is coming up. I have to make sure I can do it.
Well, when it comes to something like that, I personally want to say thank you for still doing it. Thank you for continuing to do it.
Well, as I said, it's you and people in the audience that really are the ones that, and the music, of course, number one, that really make me still want to do it, and that will go on as long as I can physically do it.
Well, let's you know, let's hope you can physically do it for another 10 years. And
What? Well, that would be
let's make that
something.
last chapter of the book really long.
Yeah,
Okay.
really long, or add
Um,
another one.
yeah.
Uh,
And
it's fun. It's so it's music is such a drug. You really don't need anything else.
no, and I've said this. I got to probably almost on every episode. The greatest line I ever heard from a musician that had, did have very bad substance abuse problems said, he goes, "I never did drugs or drank when I went on stage. It was only when I was off because I was chasing the high of the music that I was playing."
Yeah, see, like I never did it either way.
Yeah.
So that truly says that music is a drug.
Yeah.
I can truly say that.
That's awesome. So, Garry, I don't want to keep you from practice. So, before I get into my last question, I want to get this down on tape and personally say thank you for what it is you have done throughout the entire years and continue to do for music fans such as myself, and creating all this beautiful music that we have and will have till the end of time. We still have the first recorded music ever is still out there, and I just want to say what it is that you have done and continue to do is very special, and it means the world to music fans such as myself out here. So thank you wholeheartedly for that.
Well, thank you very much, and the best thing you can do for me, uh, you and all the people out there, is come to a live show with us and celebrate the music with us. You'll not regret it.
Well, I can't wait to get out there and see you again and have zero regrets while I'm there. So the last question I'm going to ask is we do a segment here. It's things that we're listening to right now.
Mhm.
So 3 things that you're listening to, that is, and I have to preface this because I have to put some people in their place at times. Other than your own music, what are 3 things that you're listening to right now?
Well, that varies from day to day, but I was listening to Mozart yesterday. So, um, and again, pop music. I was listening to I love to go back to my Jellyfish albums.
Oh, okay. So I wasn't going to say it because I didn't know how it would be perceived. Okay.
What's that?
When I first heard your new album and I was
Mhm.
listening to it, I said, I absolutely love this. And I go, it reminds me so much of Jellyfish and Andy and Roger and Jason's music that I was like, and when I played it for an individual, one of my really good friends who I respect their music knowledge, and I put it on, he goes, did Jellyfish put out a new album? I go, no, it's the Guess Who.
Well, Derek and I are great fans of them, so
Yeah.
that only goes to show you, you are what you eat.
Yeah. It was. I can't. I am so glad that you just said Jellyfish. That is the greatest
Yeah.
thing, and the fact that I didn't have to pull it out, or I was worried about saying it because I was like, I don't know how they're gonna feel about it. But
Oh no, I mean,
yeah,
let's like when we started this conversation, I said to you, we've been influenced by everyone.
yeah,
You know what I mean? And sometimes it's harder now to because there's so much out there.
yeah,
It's like I'll have to wait for Derek to say to me, "Hey, you need to listen to this," okay? And that's really how we do it. Someone in the band will want to pass on something they've discovered. I mean, it takes time to sift through all this music, and as you can tell, our time
yeah,
is really taken up trying to be who we are, right?
yeah. No,
So
absolutely.
some of the best listening is done on an airplane,
Yeah,
um, while we're traveling or in a
yeah.
car.
That's where I get mine in on airplanes or
Yeah,
on car rides.
yeah,
That's
yeah. And I'm always, if anybody on social media goes on our page and or any of our stuff and has anything that they think would be worthwhile listening to, we'd love to hear that,
yeah,
because again, we become fans just like you guys.
No,
You know,
that's why we do this segment, is because I
yeah,
want to know what you're listening to, and then after, when you're done, I give my 3 of what I'm listening to, and we put it out there for the people to,
yeah.
hey, here's some new stuff. Check this out.
Yeah,
Here's some new stuff, old stuff. Listen.
we need that help with because if you're like a lot of old bands, they get stuck in a rut and they just go through what their repertoire is, what the catalog is, and our thing is we're interested in doing a new catalog or adding to the catalog that's there. So it's always important to for us to find new things and something new that will influence us.
Yeah.
That's just the way it works. It's networking.
That's awesome. And I'm sorry we went off on a little tangent there because you said jellyfish and we had to tell a story, but you got one more thing that you're listening to that we'd like to throw out there for people.
I was listening to Art Blakey's Jazz Messengers as well.
Nice.
So there's 3 genres of music, and every day that I practice, my warm up consists of listening to Pandora, the Latin jazz stations.
Nice.
That's what I play to when I'm warming up.
It's very technical, and it'll get it all.
Well, it's rhythmic. It's syncopatedly rhythmic, which is right up the alley of a drummer, right?
Yeah.
I'm all about rhythms. So it gives me, it opens my soul up when I practice.
Awesome. So I'm going to give my 3 for this week. Great 3 for you, Gary. My first one is a gentleman by the name of Aaron Jones, and his name is spelled Ayron Jones. He has an album called Chronicles of the Kid. He is a singer-songwriter out of the Northwest, where all I have to say is, if you listen to it, all you hear through every single song and every single note is his soul. It's so beautiful.
So now you've given me something, and that's AYRON
Jones, JONES, and the name of the album is Chronicles of the Kid. My second one for this week is a band called Spanish Love Songs. I've mentioned them before on this show. I think they are one of the most underrated indie rock bands of the past 10 years. And they just put out a new album called No Joy. The name of the band is Spanish Love Songs.
See, now what I'm going to do is what I won't, is what people should stop doing. I'm just going to go and download this stuff.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
You dig what I'm saying? So, like,
Yep.
I'm not going to go test it. Well, do I like this? Do I like? No. You have to pay for it, download it, and listen to it.
Absolutely.
I encourage everyone to stop doing the cut by cut deal. You know.
No, and that's why I for the most part promote the albums that I love, because I listen to albums. I do have one single on here from my third band, which is a band called World's Greatest Dad, but they hadn't put out anything since 2019.
Wow.
And they just dropped a new single called, and the name of the single is KO. But they are a great rock band, female vocalist that just can tear you down with her voice, and that's so I was very excited when it pops up.
I think like I said, it's one thing to explore on your own, but if you get recommendations and go and listen to the whole Megillah, you'd have to be a fantastic musician or some kind of fantastic virtuoso to listen to a chorus or a verse and then say, "Oh, this is great," or "It's bad." You know, that's that's not enough.
It is not. But those are my 3 for this week, Gary. I want to say again, thank you so much. First off, for spending some time with me today. This has been an absolute pleasure getting to talk to a legend in the industry and to help
You're
get
you're
bring this
scaring
name
me.
back.
You're scaring me now.
But continue doing what you're doing. Keep creating. We'll keep listening. That's our motto.
I hope
And
so.
It's this has been a fantastic. This has been a bright part of my day so far. So thank you so much for spending some time with us here.
My pleasure. Thank you to all your listeners out there.
But everybody, you know what time it is now. It's time to go out, listen to the Guess Who, and have a great fucking time.
I am surrounded by the people around me, people around me. Through the walls, down the people around me, people around me. Shouting out loud, call the people around
Thanks again for tuning into the Hidden Tracks podcast. We hope you enjoyed this week's show. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at HiddenTracks99. Also, send all your submissions to myhiddentracks99@gmail.com. Tune in next week. You may find your new favorite band, and don't forget to go out and have a great fucking time.